My name is Sal Valadez. I'm the Diversity, Outreach, and Inclusion Representative for the Missouri and Kansas Laborers District Council. And I'm here today to give congratulations to the ARCHway Institute's gala, and also to thank them and Laborers Local 110 for their support of the Bosnian and Spanish language translations of PAL's video and the United Way video related to opioids. The Bosnian community came to Laborers Local 110 about 3 years ago and informed us that they were having issues with opioids in the Bosnian community. And I won't go into the details, but when communities get hit hard by the opioids crisis, there is trauma and worse. And they were just besides themselves, really, in terms of the concern for their community. We've worked with the Bosnian community for the last 7 years, and they felt comfortable reaching out to us. And Don Willie asked me to participate, and so I'm facilitating the Bosnian Opioids Project, which is chaired by our good friend Alden Lolich. We saw the PALS video. We were very, very much impressed, and we also saw the United Way video, likewise impressed. And so as a committee, we thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could have these subtitled so we can disseminate them through our social media platforms, our computer platforms, our website platforms, et cetera. And we reached out to Emily and the ARCHway Institute and Don Willie, and they decided that that was a great idea. So we're very grateful as a committee, as a community, that those subtitles have been provided, and we appreciate the funding and the support. And we don't want to leave anybody behind. Everybody is touched by an epidemic, and opioids is an epidemic. So we're doing our best to reach out initially to the largest two ethnic communities in our region, which are the Bosnians and the Latino community. In our ethnic communities, there is a need for treatment, but there are barriers, and the barriers are language and culture, intergenerational differences, et cetera. So we have an audience, but are we reaching them? Who's being left behind? That is the challenge for us, organizations, individuals who are working with ethnic communities in relationship to this opioids epidemic. And where we find gaps are also in education and prevention. And although the data does not indicate that there are tremendous issues and compared to other communities in our region, nonetheless, we need to focus on those education and prevention efforts also. It's like any disease. You want to avoid people getting to stage 4. You can't just focus on stage 4, which is the treatment, and ultimately the consequences that come along with not being successful with the treatment. We want to avoid that. And so part of our effort is focused on developing strategies to ensure that people are educated about what opioids are, medical, prescription, and also non-medical, non-prescription opioids. And there's a great deal of misinformation out there, or lack of information, period. And so we are working with organizations like the ARCHway Institute, Laborers Local 110. They have a deep commitment towards to addressing the opioids crisis, but it has to be a collaborative effort. And I can see that there's a relationship between the disparities that we found in our immigrant and ethnic communities during the COVID crisis that are also related to the issues in dealing with the opioids crisis in those very same communities. And again, it's language, culture, intergenerational difference, lack of information, and again, with a more concentrated focus on education and prevention so we don't get to that stage part four. We put a group together and submitted a proposal to Washington University at their request. And we decided to specifically target the impact of the opioids epidemic in our immigrant and ethnic communities. And we were awarded that grant. And we designed it. We put a research team together, our academic advisors, and we got funding from Washington University. And then we got some supplemental funding from the Missouri and Kansas Labor's District Council, Labor's Local 42, and Labor's Local 110, so we could do the translation piece. And we are in the process of collecting data. So I hope that the ARCHway Institute will help us with their contacts in the treatment community to share that link. And it's in multiple languages. It's in English, French, Spanish, Arabic, Bosnian, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Hindi. And it's an opportunity for people to participate. And this includes not just the folks that are being affected directly, but also to service providers who may not be members of those ethnic communities, but are working with them. So they have an awareness. And so we hope that we, as a result of our data collection, we'll know where to focus on education, prevention, and treatment, because I suspect that there are some communities that are being more directly affected by the pandemic, and then there are others who have the potential. So we have to focus on education and prevention programs for those communities. So we hope to contribute to the knowledge about how the epidemic affects our ethnic and immigrant communities by looking at this exploratory survey and the data that it generates. And we're optimistic. We've had some good numbers in terms of participation, but we need to get a few more people to actually take the survey.